Here we go again.
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the breach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews and connections in mind. The Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw is the 9th installment in the Fast and Furious franchise. It's the first spin-off film of this franchise. This film stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Jason Statham, Idris Elba, and Vanessa Kirby, among others. And this is the spin-off that features Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Luke Hobbs and Jason Statham's Deckard Shaw, who were forced to work together in Fate of the Furious, but now they are forced to work together again in this movie when a super virus is threatened to be unleashed on the world. Shaw's sister is mixed up in all this, and this virus is being sought after by Idris Elba's character, who is a cybernetically enhanced individual, and he has a lot of money and a lot of manpower at his disposal, and is up to Hobbs and Shaw to work together somehow, get Shaw's sister, get this virus, and prevent Idris Elba's character from seizing this virus and unleashing it upon the world. Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Hobbs and Shaw as well as certain other films. There will be a full list in the description below. And if you've not seen Hobbs and Shaw yet, or any of the films listed below, and want to wait until you have, I will be doing my spoiler-free review before I get into any spoiler-filled analysis. But just so you know, this is your first warning, there will be spoilers later on. So, the question remains, is this a good Fast and Furious film? Is this worth seeing in theaters? Is it just a good film overall? I would say yes, but within certain limitations, isn't it always? This film, going into it, I had certain expectations. One, it was just gonna, judging by the trailers, it was just gonna be a big dumb action film. Two, that the Hobbs and Shaw, who have been established in previous films, would have as good chemistry as they did in the previous films. Continue in this film. Three, that the villain would be established just enough so that he presents a threat, but not anything distracting from our heroes. And four, that because it's a Fast and Furious film, I expect some really good car stunts as well. Did I get all of those things? I would say yes, for the most part. This film shows that The Rock's Hobbs and Statham's Shaw do still have great chemistry, much as they did in previous films. Their chemistry and their banter carries the film as far as it needs to go, I'd say. They do just enough to make you care about them, enough for you to want them to succeed, but it doesn't do much beyond that, in my opinion. The villain, Idris Elba's character, he does a good job being the villain, and is not too distracting as well. Because they don't really focus on him too much. They only have a couple of lines as to his backstory. He has a history with Shaw that is explained in film, and much to this film's credit that it knows exactly what kind of film this is. Idris's character, this is revealed in the trailers, that Idris, his first introduction, when he's challenged by "Who are you?" he just says "bad guy." So that just shows me that he's a good villain and in the right kind of movie, in my opinion. Three, this film did have some great car action, mostly in the beginning and a little bit at the end, but not a whole lot else, honestly. And that's partially one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I want to go to a Fast and Furious film. I don't necessarily care so much about the characters. I mean, I do, but I think the car stuff is almost as important as that, maybe on par with that. So the fact that this film has barely any car stuff, honestly, what car stuff have is kind of minimal, and all the best stuff has been spoiled in the trailers itself. I find that a little bit disappointing. Overall, I would say this film did what it needed to do, but not much else. It definitely had that late 80s, early 90s action film feel, but didn't really transcend that, in my opinion. There are a couple of surprise cameos in this film. I won't spoil those just yet, but there's one that is probably my favorite, and I would say he steals the show just because of who he is. Like I said, I'll tell you that when I get into my spoiler-filled thoughts. I'd also say Vanessa Kirby as Shaw's sister in this film. She does a magnificent job in this. I would say as far as in the pantheon of kick-ass female action stars, I'd say she's towards the top of the modern genre at this point. Maybe not quite as badass as someone like, say, Ripley, or maybe even like Atomic Blonde, who David Leitch directed both Atomic Blonde and this film, but she's definitely up there. She did a good job in this film. If I was going to give this film a letter grade, I would say this is a solid B-. It did what it needed to do, but not much else. And as far as a Fast and Furious film goes, I would say it's enjoyable to watch, but it's incredibly forgettable. And even Fate of the Furious, which I didn't love per se, it's much more memorable than this. So those are my spoiler-free thoughts. Now let's get into some spoiler-filled analysis as to certain plot developments and character arcs that may have seemed familiar in this film and where you may have seen them before. So this film, as I said, focuses on a deadly virus that is called the Snowflake that will essentially cause the apocalypse if it is released, and is up to our guys to try and prevent that from happening. And Vanessa Kirby, Shaw's sister, she ends up injecting this virus into herself in order to keep it out of Idris Elba's hands. And it is up to there's a ticking clock about this, that after like 3 days or something, that the virus will get into her system, and then she will most definitely die and spread the virus. I thought that this was very reminiscent of Mission Impossible 2, actually, where they had that film also revolved around a deadly virus, namely Chimera, and our hero has a love interest who ends up injecting the virus into her, and there's a racing clock to get the virus, or get our love interest to cure before she dies, and this virus is released, and this virus has to be kept out of the hands of the enemy of Mission Impossible 2, who was part of the IMF or an arms dealer at one point. So there's one element of comparison to be made there. Also, the fact that this film also features a very technologically advanced enemy who has technology far outstripping our heroes, especially going into the final battle, but then the heroes have to rely on some old school methods to fight their enemy and defeat him. In Hobbs and Shaw's case, the Samoan war clubs and weapons and all that stuff against Idris Elba's advanced weaponry, who they managed to shut down and even the odds there. I thought this was reminiscent of something that happened earlier in the Fast franchise, namely Fast 6, where our team faces a very technologically advanced enemy, and they have to resort to older cars to get past that technological advantage and even the odds against them. In that case, using the classic cars against Owen Shaw's crew, which ends up hijacking a tank, so who knows if that was the best option to go there, but there's another similarity to go there as well. So those are just the main 2 points of comparison that I made between this film. I'm certain there are others to be made as well. But so if I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. But also, what did you think of Hobbs and Shaw? Did you like it? Did you not like it? As I said, my analysis. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did I miss anything? I probably missed something. I haven't seen all the movies. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my TV review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, as well as to look forward to my next TV review, which will be for The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, which comes out on Netflix August 30th. Like I said, be sure to look for all these things. And if you like what you see here or anywhere on my channel, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. I'd very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.